because so much went on in those early days. It's interesting to note that they came about through the ideas, the forethought, the wishes of Eileen Garrett, and who, as a lot of people know, was what was known as a trance medium. In other words, all her life she had been bothered with psychic feelings, psychic impressions, all kinds of things that she couldn't explain. And helpful people would say, that's all right, dear, it'll go away. It never did. Others would say, well, dear, we've always thought there was something funny in your family. And she thought, well, now I am going to try and find research to study this very seriously, and for myself to either get rid of it or use it for some useful purpose, and for other souls, because there are many people who have all kinds of rather unpleasant experiences. They're bothered throughout their lives with, well, of course, the simplest one is you're thinking about your brother in California, and I must telephone him, and as soon as you go to the telephone, pick it up, he's on the telephone. So we know that there is some, I call it wavelength, what else? Telepathic waves. These kind of things go on. But then there are the interruptions in a normal life with this so-called psychic gift. So to go back to Eileen Garrett, she'd been bothered with this all her life. And she had already, where she could find people interested enough to do it, I would say probably largely in the psychology, medical profession, to try and find if it was a question of split personalities, all this kind of thing. So that was really the beginning of this foundation. And she had at that time a very good friend who approached pretty much the same subject, but a rather more intellectual angle, a philosophical. But she too wanted to help the people understand, because obviously this gift, this happening, it does occur with many, many people, and we would like the explanations for it. So in a rather large nutshell, you've got the beginning of the foundation. The other lady was Frances P. Bolton, and she was a rather extraordinary person. She was born to wealth, but became a very independent young lady in the the early 1900s, when young ladies were only concerned with dressing correctly, correct education, a good marriage, raising a nice family, and that kind of thing. But Frances Bolton saw far beyond that, and indeed, when she married a gentleman who was in Congress, and he died while still in Congress, she finished his term and then went on to be a very fine congresswoman for 28 years in Congress by election on her own merits. She also had, she was lucky to have quite a lot of money, so she contributed greatly to the financial end of this. But these two ladies are very different backgrounds, saw eye to eye in wanting to try solve, that's far too big a word, but try and help people understand what this strange psychic phenomenon is, because it does exist all over the world and in all these strange forms. So they got together in 1951, and they formed the Parapsychology Foundation, and its purpose was primarily research and scientific examination of what is this psychic happening that takes so many forms. Telepathy, which is the thought-to-thought transmission, or mind-to-mind, rather. There's clairvoyance, which is sort of seeing visions. all this kind of thing. And indeed, they made up some very fine programs of research and invited heads of disciplines in, well, obviously medical, psychology, psychiatry. Then the mathematicians even wanted to, and physics, they wanted to get into it. So they had all biology, chemistry, you name it, all the different disciplines would be invited to join at a conference. In fact, she set up a wonderful system of conferences of inviting a dozen or more of these people of different disciplines to get together at one table and really talk about their ideas, their research, if they've done any, or how to go about enlightenment of this strange subject. So, of course, from all these different points of view, you had so many interesting things to follow up to try and get a little more information on why do people have these psychic things. So that goes back to 1951. Frances Bolton, of course, she was the vice president. Eileen Garrett became the president. Eileen Garrett ran the place because she had been a businesswoman. She had been in publishing. She was a very good writer, very good lecturer. So she was excellent in her contact with people. And of course, interesting, all these different professors of so many disciplines. So she could spend her time gathering these people together, which she did. So they would set up all forms of research. They'd make up their own laboratories, and they'd examine it from biological tests, dreams. A lot of work was done on analyzing dreams to see if that had anything to do, what so-called psychic content there'd be in dreams. So that was it. But Eileen Garrett wasn't just sitting there with a book trying to look up why she had a dream this way or why she had that vision or should she do this or that. She was a very lively, intellectually curious person. She loved theater. She loved literature. She loved people. She loved children of all ages, from birth to 90 or 100, if you will. She loved animals. She was just curious and intellectually curious about everything, as was Frances Bolton. So though they were very, very different personalities, together they got this amazing foundation going. They got together a program of grants so that some of these professors, whoever would present a possible solution, a possible examination of some facet of this weird psychic gift. And that has opened up the understanding. And the poor people who, there are many of them, or there were, who really thought that they were a little, I mean, just going round the bend with these strange visions and things. And at least with all the research we've done, we know now, and we can reassure them, that they are not in the least bit insane, that this is, it's rather like a gift of music. A lot of people can play the piano beautifully, but a few are geniuses, and they have these fabulous music comes to them, and they can sit down and play it. The rest of us, maybe we play well, but we have to learn, and it's not, but it's that type of thing that they were able to delve into and find that there really is a psychic gift. And some people have it to a very pronounced degree and are quite troubled with it. Others, let's just put it down to a large dose of intuition. So there is the whole reasoning really for starting up the Parapsychology Foundation, which has been a great help in bringing quite a lot of light onto this awkward situation.